All right, looks like we're live recording. Welcome back to Brian Sells Words. I am Brian. Um, I started out my journey as a copywriter and kind of grew into a business consultant and whatnot. And now I'm kind of pivoting. I want to pivot more into teaching entrepreneurs how to do their own marketing as opposed to where it was kind of a done for you thing. And so this is part of the process. I have this podcast and I wanted to create a space for entrepreneurs to come on and talk about what their journey towards entrepreneurship is so that you can see that maybe the path that you're taking, it may be difficult, but it's not an impossible journey. And it's not, it's not just as easy as YouTube will have you believe. Because I do think there's a lot of misinformation out in the space. So on this episode, I have my friend Tiffany.
Hello,
And
everyone.
um and Tiffany is not only the president of her own business, but she has um a nonprofit that interlinks with that business. And it's starting to pivot more into I'm starting to hear a lot of people talk about conscious capitalism, entrepreneurship with a purpose and things like that. And
Mhm.
so I wanted to lay those kind of concepts out there so that we can discuss them later on. Um, so before we get too far into it, Tiffany, why don't you tell uh, the audience about what your enterprises are?
Sure. I am the founder and Chief Innovation Officer of Emerging Ladies Academy, where we empower Black girls in technology. We provide three tech tracks for them to go into: computer science, engineering, and biomedical science. And then also, I am the owner of Emerging Ladies LLC. We are a tech connector. We connect people, resources, ideas, and opportunities with all things technology. So whether you want to pivot and go to a different career pathway into technology, if you want to start a business that is related to tech, or you need some advice on where to start with a business, or if you're an organization and need some tech training or some tech workshops for your youth, or with your as a business owner, you need some guidance, I can help in that area too. My expertise, I've been a social service expert for over 20 years, and I just want to add value to our community when it comes to technology. So that is why I built both of these enterprises.
Incredible. So I'm seeing some common threads here because the last person I had on was a teacher, which is kind of, interacting with the community, interacting with kids specifically and teaching them skills or whatnot. I come from a social services background as well. And a lot of the people that I'm starting to interact with had some level of social services before they decided to create their business. And I think for a lot of people that are currently in social services and working in that field, um, I do think sometimes it does feel like a silo where you can't really get out. You're kind of
Right.
trapped. And I'm here to tell you that a lot of the skills that you learn doing social services and working with people translate really nicely to forming your own enterprise and doing your own thing. Um,
Right.
so before I get too far into this, um, Tiffany, tell me about what your world was like before you started with Emerging Ladies.
Oh, wow. So I received my master's in organizational leadership back in, I have to look, 2000 and I think 2015. And I couldn't find a job in a management position. It was really beating that pavement, trying to show employers my value, my worth. And I was so tired of it. I was so tired of it. Like, I know I can be a leader. I know that I have the people skills. I know I have the business sense, to do this. Why am I not being afforded the opportunity? So it was really bleak, to be quite honest with you. I sort of had given up hope in trying to find that perfect job for me or career path for me. And I just got tired of trying to prove my value, what I can bring to the table. So just by really, I don't want to say it's happenstance, but I just had a dream. I always knew I wanted to work with girls. So this is no surprise where I'm at, but how everything has transformed and transitioned is very enlightening, So yeah, it was not a good road before starting ELA. I was very frustrated with showing the world that I had value, right? I mean, I have this degree. I've been in this space for, 20 years and still was unable to find suitable employment that really could pull from my skills. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
So the dream kind of seemed like it was your call to action. Now, immediately, when you had that dream showing you what your life could be, did you immediately take action on it, or did you push back a little bit against it?
I got up. It woke me up out of my sleep. I had an epiphany. I mean, everything just came full circle. It encompassed everything from my professional life and my personal life. It just all came together. It made sense. I woke up out my sleep. I had some post-it notes, and I just started taking notes with what was in my dream. I got up out of that bed and have been running ever since. Now, there's always hesitation
Mhm.
because if you have a dream and it doesn't scare you, then you're doing something wrong. So I'm scared half the time, half of the time, making sure that I get this right. But that fear doesn't stop me. It may slow me down at times, but I have learned, and I'm still learning to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. You have to push past your comfort zone to see your dream realized. So that's what I have experienced since 2017, just being uncomfortable. Because
Mhm.
I can't say I know everything. I don't. There's no master plan. There's no template. For this vision. It was given to me. So yeah, I got up and I've been running ever since, but it hasn't. I haven't been running. I haven't been sprinting. That's what I'll say.
Got you. It is one of those things where it's really interesting because, that fear, a lot of it, it never really leaves you. And I think a lot of times people that are crossing over from working for somebody else where they got that sense of security, that
Hmm.
fear is the thing that it basically grabs a hold of you and kind of strangles the rest of your dreams out of you
Hmm.
because you're
And
scared of that next step.
yes, and that's for me now, being in this space for so long, and I've worked, part time and sacrifice and continue to sacrifice. Quite honestly, realizing this dream. However, the opportunities, the success far outweighs the fear of wanting to go back into that space, because I know that I will be stifled. I
Mhm.
would be really dead. My soul would be dead if I went back into that space and just worked for someone else and sat on my dreams. So that's what keeps me going. Maybe I do need to work a part time, but I will never go back to, and God, willing, that I will never have to go back into that corporate environment, working for someone else. This is very freeing, and there's always a give and take. There's pros and cons with everything, but I feel just very free, even when I am fearful. Even when I don't have all the answers, when things aren't going how I envision them to go, I just have to keep pushing.
I think for me, the fear is going back
Yeah.
because I'm a, I know, I'll be straight up with you. I know at this point in my life and my journey, I would be a terrible employee. Like
Yeah,
I
me
would
too.
be absolutely a terrible employee. And even looking back on some of the stuff I did in hindsight, you know, I had managed to go all the way from a frontline worker to the director of my own program. And I always kept a very strong rebellious streak. Like I have a way that I like to think, a way I believe, a vision that I like to see how things are done, and I'm
Mhm.
gonna stick to that vision. And it put me at odds with a lot of former supervisors. If y'all watching, I apologize. I'm hard headed. I'm sorry. That's just how it goes. But I just know the fear of going back into it. I would be a terrible employee. And also kind of extends to the way I've kind of reconstructed my business model because, I have my clients I absolutely love enjoying with. And if I interact with you on a regular basis, that's one of those things where I absolutely am enjoy interacting with you and enjoying hearing about your business and your enterprise and stuff. But I did have to pivot away from the done for you side of things because that started to feel I started to feel that same level of, okay, I got to go in here and compromise kind of what my creative vision is to
Mhm.
meet exactly where the client meets. And a lot of times for the ones that work out, we have a shared experience where there's a level of trust. I can go out there and execute what we discussed and generally pleased. But if it's going to be one of those micromanage this, this color it doesn't look right, or you know, this clip is a little bit too long, that's where I start pushing back against it. So I did realize at some point I had to get away from all that.
Right.
So that's kind of scares me going back into it. So I want to ask you a question. On your pathway, did you find any mentors?
So that was the first thing I looked for, right? I knew with anything new,
Mhm.
with anything unknown, you have to go find those experts. You have to create a support system. I've done that my whole life, so I knew going in, I needed to have a support. I needed to have a mentor, a coach. How do I do this? How do I really essentially raise this baby, right?
Mhm.
Like I'm pregnant with this baby.
Mhm.
How do I have this baby and how do I take care of it? So that was the first thing that I started after probably about a year after I was in it. I said I need to get a mentor. Um, you need to vet people very well. You need to make sure that they share your vision, they share your mission, they're truly in it with you. There's no there's a level of trust. I mean, I wouldn't share my baby with anyone. No, you can't be, a grandparent, or
Mhm.
so that's what I learned early on, that it just you have to vet people, and just because they are experts in that space does not mean that they're the right fit for you as a mentor.
Right, right. And I think one of the things that does come with experience is to add on to it. Just because somebody's an expert in one space doesn't mean that they're expert in other spaces.
Right, that's true too.
And so
Absolutely.
we run into that a lot, especially in the influencer world where you could kind of a lot of people will create expertise when they're not really experts and stuff. And that can go either way because sometimes there's a humbling experience and you get a little bit of humanity behind it. I know Russell Brunson used to say, you just need to read one step ahead of your clients, one chapter ahead of your clients.
Mhm.
And so he's very open about, I'm not an expert in all these fields. But then there are other ones that don't really know, but they still embrace the expert label and give out advice without qualifying it by saying, I'm not sure this is going to work out, but here's some things I heard. So
Right,
the mentorship stage is really important because it also can show you the kind of mentor you want to be to people.
right,
All right.
right. And then also with that, as you move into this journey of entrepreneurship, your needs may change. So your coaching or mentor needs may change as well. Um, that person can teach you X, Y, and Z, but now you're in this different lane and you need different expertise. Like you said, they may be an expert in this particular space, but maybe not in this space. So, just for example, with me with technology, I didn't have a clue what I wanted to do with technology. I'm not from the tech space. So I get this vision. It's like, okay, what do I do? So I go to the experts that are technologists or have built businesses in technology.
Mhm.
Um, to get to glean from. Then it's now, okay, now I understand what that looks like. Now I need a coach for my nonprofit organization. Specifically, how do you build a nonprofit? So you need a coach for that. So as you grow and as you walk down this journey, just know you may not, the people that you started with may not be the people that you end with or are in the middle with. You have to constantly look for people,
Mhm.
mentors and coaches and a support system that fit where you're at right now,
Okay.
because that's where honestly I'm in that space right now. I had some mentors that helped me really set up the foundation of what this looked like, and now I'm at the space of, okay, now how do I take this package and take it to another level? So now I need someone else that has more expertise in this area to push it forward. So just because you start with someone doesn't mean you have to stay with them.
Right. And sometimes that break is the best thing for both of you because, you may be the ceiling that's preventing them from growing, and they may be the ceiling that's preventing you from growing.
Hmm.
So I think that growth piece is very important. You never really reach the end of the journey. It's just another step on the road.
Right.
So when you started out, what was the biggest hurdle you had to get over to get started?
And I laugh because it's still a big hurdle. Confidence,
Right.
plain and simple. The confidence to know that this can be done, that this big vision can be realized. And even in the moments of success, I have found myself like the imposter syndrome. To be quite, I didn't know anything about imposter syndrome until last summer. And I'm like, I don't have imposter syndrome. It's, basically I'm real, right? But now I understand it. Now that I'm moving into another space, it's sometimes you have to fake it until you make it, and you don't have to have it all together. And it does not mean that you are fake or you are doing that you're working outside of your elements, right? You're learning and growing and building the confidence up to be able to make mistakes, to be able to learn, to grow, to know that this is what you're supposed to be doing. No one else. You may, in my, I have felt like maybe it's this is for someone else to do because of my low self confidence in and knowing that I could do this, build this empire. But no, this is for me, right? So even when I'm feeling low, that's once again when you have that support system, it is crucial, it's critical that you have support. Um, those people rally around you and say, "No, you have what it takes." Um,
Mhm.
you may not see it, but we see it, right? So you may battle with that, but confidence has been the biggest um, issue for me when it comes to building this, because it is actually bigger than me. It's not it's not Tiffany Gamble. This is a team full of people, and making sure that I am confident enough to lead this mission forward. So that's the biggest struggle. That's what has been the struggle.
Mhm.
It's gotten. I can say that I don't struggle with it as much anymore like I used to in the beginning. Um, but yeah, it comes and goes.
Uh, I might have here's one thing I've learned because that was so real for me. I'm sitting there like, okay, so the imposter syndrome, I've experienced it, living it, you know, and it's one of those things that can be one of those crippling kind of things where it just pins you down and you're just like, okay, I don't believe I think I know this, but there's so many more experts in the world that know a whole lot more about it, and maybe they're better qualified. Here's the thing I've learned: the more you learn about something, it's a double-edged sword. The more you learn about something, the more you realize that there is to know about that thing.
Right.
So you start questioning what you already do know,
Right.
and then everything you know doesn't seem as important or as valid because you realize how much of a gap there is between your knowledge and expertise. The way
Right.
it's, you know, being being familiar with the subject is like driving from we're Omaha based, so it'd be like driving from Omaha to the far end of Council Bluffs.
Hmm.
Being familiar with the subject,
Right.
being a novice, having that novice level understanding where you can communicate about it, that's like Omaha to Kansas City.
Right.
When you
And
start,
when go ahead.
oh, sorry, when you start reaching that expertise level, you're talking about driving from Omaha to Jupiter.
Right. Right.
And that's the big challenge. But the road is the fun part. That's where
Right.
you're learning it.
And I do believe that, and I've struggled with this. Okay, so I may not be able to talk about the technical parts of technology, right? That doesn't mean that I don't bring value
Right.
to the conversation or to the subject. And you just really have to know what your niche is. What are you most passionate about, and speak about that. So I'm passionate about tech education. That is my passion. That is my niche. That's what I will talk about. Black women, tech education. Anything outside of that, that's not my lane.
Mm-hmm.
That I'm not an expert at it. I know a little bit. I'm a novice. I'm a hobbyist, but I can't speak to those things. And that has really helped me with my self confidence and going into this space. Technology is huge, right? I mean, it's like endless, but you can talk about it's everywhere, just any type of subject, right?
Uh-huh.
But what is it that I'm passionate about? And I think that's the key when you are building something or going after your purpose. You really have to hone in on what is it that you are capable. What is your expertise? Mine has always been education. Like, education is the most important thing. I mean, it was ingrained in me as a child. So I can talk about education all day long. Someone asks me anything about education, yes. And anybody asks me about Black women and technology, I can talk about it. Outside of those realms, I can now confidently say that is not my lane.
Mm-hmm.
But I have someone that I can link you up to answer those questions, or I can find the answers out. But that's not my expertise, and it's okay to say that. We're not walking encyclopedias.
Right.
We can't answer everything, and that was part of my issue with self-confidence, feeling like I had to know everything. You just can't. You just know your niche, know your lane, and stay there.
Well, and I think it also does. Here, I'm gonna turn it on its head. It gives you a lot of credibility
Right.
because, and from the credibility standpoint, I don't trust people that don't say, "I don't know. I can go find out for you."
Mm-hmm.
I have a very difficult time trusting because people can look like an expert on the spot and just make up crap, and they'll just tell you
Yep.
anything. But from my standpoint, it's more interesting to watch somebody who is in the journey of learning, and then they share what they've learned along the way, as opposed to somebody who's learned it all and is just sitting up on the throne just giving
Right.
out little doling out. It's more fun to follow the person that's actively learning.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I think, your skill set, you say you may not know tech, but I'm looking at it like you have the ability to take these technical terms and break them down to an audience that is completely unfamiliar with it. So
Right.
you have that ability to take that jargon and make it English, make it something that somebody can understand.
Make it applicable. I get a little messing with that word,
Applicable.
but
I got it.
yeah. Make it make sense to someone that has a fifth grade education, right?
Right.
Break it down to where anyone can understand, and I'm good at that. And that's so when I do learn those technical terms or a software, I'm able to break that down and help people understand from an everyday perspective. This is why it's important. This is why it matters. This is why you should go learn about this. So I can do that because that's what I need, right? I mean, when someone starts speaking over my head, I stop them. Hold on,
Mm, right.
break it down so I can understand. And I'm a processor, so you need to give me 1, 2, 3, ABC, and make it make sense in my life. Make it applicable to me. So I feel like I'm an expert in that area to be able to break down complex thoughts and ideas and break it down to everyday language.
Right. Well, and that skill is invaluable. Being able to take those from a marketing. Okay, so I'm putting on my marketing consultant hat.
Mm-hmm.
You're the dream client because you have an idea that you cannot communicate to people in tech jargon.
Right.
A lot of business owners don't have that. When they communicate to their clients, they throw out a bunch of tech jargon because it makes them feel it's comforting because it makes them feel empowered in what they know, not
Right.
understanding that they confusing whoever they talking to. And so having that ability to take a complex thought and break it down to something that's simple for an average person to understand um, is a huge skill. And from a marketing standpoint, that gives you um, a huge head start on a lot of, especially in the tech space,
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of people in the tech space, yeah, I mean, I'm an investor. I read up on startups and stuff, and when you read the papers and stuff, it's the most confusing, confounding thing in the world,
Mm-hmm.
and nobody's taken time to break it down to make it simple because they think, well, if I talk about it like this, then people are going to believe I have my credibility instantly. So that's a skill. That's a huge benefit to you moving
Well,
forward.
thank you.
So let me ask you this,
Mm-hmm.
because been on the road, you've had mentors and things like that. We talked about your biggest hurdles. The next one is, it's the tests, the allies, and the enemies that you found along the way. How have you navigated that space? Navigated those people that in those situations that could derail what you're trying to do.
Well, I want to say with that area, I've had to grow as a person. I've had to grow as a leader. I had to know who I am as a person when it comes to those tests, right? Those tests can make you or break you.
Mm-hmm.
And are you strong enough to persevere, right? To have the courage to even persevere through it. The goal has to be greater than the obstacle, right?
Right.
So I have to keep the goal right in front of my face. Keep reminding myself of this is temporary. This is not forever. Whatever the test is, whatever the obstacle, whatever the challenge is, it will be greater on the other end once you push through. Allies and enemies, honestly, I don't focus on those people. I had an experience early on with some enemies and frenemies, I'll say. And it hurt very deeply. It took me like a year to get over it, because I'm so protective of my brand, of my baby, of my project. For me to open up and say, "Hey, can you help me?" and then it's not met with the same level of respect, to be quite honest with you, or opportun people are opportunists. So they're around you to take from you, and you're me, because I'm such an open, genuine person. I don't, I don't, I don't see the opportunist people coming, because I'm just thinking they're like me, right? They share the same heart, the same um, morals and values. And early on, I had to learn, like I shouldn't know this, right? But I'm in business. I'm vulnerable.
Mhm.
Everybody isn't like you. There are more takers and givers in this world. So now I have learned to be, not that I'm open, because I
Mhm.
have to be. I have to ask people to the table. However, I'm more intentional in just vetting people, right? Just really getting to know people. People can put a good front up, show their good face, but they're not for you.
Right.
So I have been very more conscious, more intentional about the relationships that I build with people, and taking the time, and not just one or two meetings or conversations. No, like, let's talk. It may take months for me to say, okay, maybe this is a relationship that I can involve myself in with my business, with my enterprises. So that's what I learned early on, that one, test is going to come, life is going to come, obstacles is going to come. It's tough.
Mhm.
There's days where you want to give up, um, but you have to continue the have the goal in your face, have the vision in your face, and know that it's not going to last. That this obstacle will be over. It won't be there all the time. How do you get through it, past it, over it? So that's been my lesson early on. And allies, you just need to vet them as well, and keep them at bay as well.
Right.
Use them when you need them, and keep them off to the side. Feed them with a long handled spoon, as my grandmother used to say.
Mhm.
you know, um, Keep it moving. This road can be lonely. This journey can be lonely. But you just have to keep your, not that you walk around guarded with a chip on your shoulder, but just aware.
Right.
You just, as you learn your lessons, you just become more aware, but don't let it stop you from
Well,
moving forward.
you're kind of protecting you're protecting your inner sanctum. You're protecting your peace,
Hmm.
and at the same time, you're protecting your business. Even with
Hmm.
allies, sometimes, especially when you're in the entrepreneur space, a lot of people that are still in the 9 to 5 space, the advice they'll give you isn't exactly calibrated for your success. It's not built to be successful for you. It's they care about you. They want to keep you safe, but safety isn't a part of the game when it comes
Well,
to a
that's
lot of this
that,
stuff.
right? That's the thing. It's like, um, how can I put this? Let me use an analogy. It's like a lawyer talking to a doctor,
Mhm.
right? I understand, Lori, you have this expertise, you set of the set of uh, 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 what I want to say, rules and regulations on how you move.
Mm.
And you're trying to tell this doctor to maneuver in this same space. It's two different worlds.
Right.
And with being an entrepreneur, it is absolutely two different worlds from being an employer. And I'm the only one in my family to be an entrepreneur,
Mhm.
um, and it's very difficult to engage my family in conversations or even support sometimes, because they just don't understand. Just go back to work. If it's that hard, just go back to work. Just find you a job. You got a degree, go back to work. Why are you going through all this? Why it ain't even worth it? So to have those conversations is very difficult. That's why, once again, I'm gonna go back to find that support system. That,
Mhm.
I mean, I have support. I have people in my support system that work 9 to 5. and we don't always see eye to eye because they just don't get it, and that's fine. But I know that they're here for support. They know I'm not stopping.
Right.
But it is a totally different conversation with those 9 to 5ers, because it's a risk, and they don't want to see you fail. They don't want to see you go through. They don't want to see you sacrifice um, and risk everything for this dream,
Right.
right? For this, but they don't see it. No one no one can see your vision but you. So you have to just keep moving forward, even when other people don't understand. You can't even explain it to people sometimes.
Well, can we talk about this for a second? And this is a little bit off my script, but you did mention it. It really struck a chord in my brain. The concept of you already have your degree, just go back to work. Just go out and find a job. Your degree is, your degree should guarantee you a career path. And I do think, and I'm gonna throw this out there. I think, especially with the way I grew up, black folks in my family, I had a whole nother career I discovered in college that had nothing to do with my degree. When I started to drill into that career, I started to run headlong into their insecurities about where this career could go. My career would have been radio, early internet broadcaster. This was in the late 90s, early 2000s. That would have led to podcaster and stuff like that.
Right.
And had a job offer and basically got scared off the trail to go get my degree in human services, which it was a long about path, and it did that career path. I don't want to belittle it. That career path did help my life out, and it was what I wanted. It was one of my goals of what I wanted to do. But I think the idea that this degree is this magical piece of paper that guarantees you a career, I do think that is one of the biggest misconceptions that we give to our kids a lot of times.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's not a magic pill. It's not this get your career started ticket.
Mhm.
It's none of those things. Like I said, even with me getting my master's, I had the toughest time finding
Mhm.
employment in what I wanted to do. Right. I mean,
Right.
I've done entry level. I've done this. I'm done. I want to impact my community in a different manner. And what I see that there's where the gaps are at, and a degree did not afford me the opportunity to do that.
Right.
It didn't guarantee that. So you're right.
Well, and my baby girl, I look at my little girl, she wants to be an artist. And
Yep.
that's her. And we in Tiffany, you encourage her, we all encourage her to what she wants to do.
Yep.
My son, he's kind of he wants to be a chef. And
All
so
right.
we're encouraging him in those ways. The thing we don't want to do is they start taking up, if they decide the college is the path, they decide on a degree path that's not one of the lucrative degree paths. I see parents that are saying, well, that degree can't make any money or you can't do anything with that. And I do think collectively, maybe we need to start shifting and start looking at degrees as tools to get a job done as opposed to the job itself.
Exactly. Exactly. You're absolutely right. And I'm from the standpoint of there's different pathways to education, and it doesn't look the same for everyone. Just because you aspire to get a 4-year degree, maybe that other person just wants to get um some skills for a trade.
Mhm.
So we push our kids into 4-year universities where maybe that's not where they fit in. It's just that simple. What I push is use educational tools, right? If it's online, get a certification. If it's in school, take a trade skill, but just always further your education, always further your skill set. A 4-year degree does not mean nothing.
Right.
I mean, it's a tool. You went, but that doesn't say Now this degree says now you can make 100,000 a year and live
Hmm.
your best life. No, not that
Right.
is a fallacy.
Well, and from a tech space, I just read this article, matter of fact. Um, if I can find it again, I'll send it to you. From a tech space, I'm starting to see they're talking about the trend line of some of these major tech corporations are recruiting kids out of high school based on code, based on code and things that they've done. And so, they're not even, a lot of times it used to be you had to go to get, your degree in computer sciences, and a lot of the self-taught people really had a hard road to navigate, but they're going almost exclusively for these self-taught people.
And I'm gonna tell you why. We have a shortage of workers. That's
Uh-huh.
number one. That is we can't wait 4 years for someone to graduate to put them to make to put them to work, for them to be employable. We are getting attacked all the time. Cybersecurity,
Uh-huh.
like, yes, there are some technical areas where you need a degree in, but just this is what it is. It's entry level positions in tech and IT that you can get certifications in. That's
Hmm.
why all these code schools are popping up. That is why Google has all these certifications, because now they're looking at people. Can you do the job? Do you have the skill to do this job? We're not worrying about this 4 year degree. We may not even have to worry about this 2 year degree, but
Hmm.
we need to. Can you code? Can
Right.
can can you do? Can you work with this software? Do you have the concepts? Do you understand the concepts of this software? Okay, then we'll teach you. Our system. But as United States is digging deeper, deeper, and deeper into lack of tech workers, you can't wait for a 4 year degree. It's not even necessary
Right.
in this space. That is why I love technology so much, this industry, because you can pick and choose now. It's like whatever you want to do. What are you interested in? Just like your daughter, she loves drawing, 3D animation,
Hmm.
cartoons, movies, anything that you want, healthcare.
Right.
IXL is coming to talk to us this month about how they use 3D animation to do surgeries, to do diagnosis. Someone has to draw it, someone has to create the software, someone has to, draw this animation out. Three I just seen on the news, they just created a 3D house uh, that was like $1 million to create. This is all technology. This is all animation, right?
Right.
So it's so huge where you don't even need a degree. You can just work off of a skill 6 months and make so much money in
Right.
one skill. So you literally, they want to push these degrees, and I'm not taking nothing away from degrees at all. If there's a specific career you want to go into and that career requires that degree, then fine. But look outside the box. We don't have to have a 4 year degree. We just don't. I mean, 2 year would be good, depending on what you want to do. But when it comes to the tech space, no. And then not only that, we're becoming more entrepreneurship as a community
Right.
than ever before, right? Like, so we can just go get a skill and say, hey, this is what we can do, and not looking for a job to go do it in. So I just love the freedom now, where we used to, get a 4 year degree, get a 4 year. That's the only way that you're going to be marketable. That's the only way you're going to get a job. That is out the window now.
Right. Well, it's exciting to watch as these younger groups of kids, especially black kids, they're starting to learn. I remember the joke was when we had MySpace, we all learned HTML because we had to with MySpace in order to code your MySpace page the right way. But we're starting to see kids that are 16 years old start, I come from the content creation standpoint. We're starting to see kids that are 16 years old understand the nuances of creating watchable videos and tutorials and things like that. They understand how the technology interlaps with each other, and they're understanding video codecs and things like that. Stuff that people used to have to go to school for, they can just pick up just through experimentation and play. So they're
Yep.
playing around. They're playing around on YouTube. They're playing around on TikTok. They're playing
Yep.
around on Adobe After Effects when they create those really cool special effects and stuff. They're testing it and learning it. And some of them are finding ways to create their own entrepreneurship. Some
Yep.
of them starting production companies. Others are starting videography companies. Others are going into where I'm at with the marketing space, where they just create content for other people. So the door is wide open. And,
Yes.
you know, these things that look like hobbies to us are also teaching these kids how to market themselves, how to
Yes.
record themselves, how to use
Yes.
technology to meet their needs.
Yes.
So there's so many different things that they're able to do, and it's really, really an exciting time to watch them. And I think, especially with as social media, as the social media thing grows, we're going to start seeing new pathways for these kids to start utilizing the tech skills and the skills that they learn interacting with each other and really combine them in interesting ways.
Right.
So, well, we actually hit a couple of other things that I was looking at on my list here. So the reward. At what point did you reach where you're looking back on where you started out and you're like, I did all this? Like, wow, I did this and this is where my dream is starting to come into reality? Like, what point did you reach?
Hmm. Oh wow. The gala, the tech gala that we just had. Seeing all the girls, seeing the girls in Ghana, uh, it hit home that this is real, right? I mean,
Mhm.
going to Africa was another like, wow. I dreamt about this. But really just seeing all the hard work being realized was at the tech gala. Wow, it just blows me away, and still more work to do, but this is the start. Seeing the girls come out, 14 girls, just
Mhm.
wow. Almost have 50 girls. It's 35 girls in the
Wow.
program. I started, I didn't have none, what I'm
Yeah.
saying, at first, so it is very, very enlightening to see. Uh, and they keep me going, when I don't have any fuel in my tank, like literally just seeing a picture of them keeps me going. Like, okay, I'm doing this for Braylon,
Mhm.
I'm doing this for Kamaya, I'm doing this for the girls in Africa. So it makes it worth it at the end. But that has been the biggest reward so far for me, to be able to see um, the progress, right?
Right.
So yeah.
So I'll ask you, what's your big, huge future goal? Like, where do you want to see this 10 years?
Uh, well, when I got the epiphany, it was really a school, a big compound, all girls school, all tech accredited. Um, just girls everywhere, just realizing their dreams, whatever that they wanted to do in their life. We had programs for them. It was very future focused, very project based. It was not a typical school where you sit down and hear lecture. It was all, we had wings. I mean, that's really what I would want. A computer science wing, an engineering wing, a biomedical science wing,
Mhm.
and doing projects and being creative and innovative and really building the next future for us. That's what I seen. And
Okay.
that's the big here and in Africa. That's the big picture, the big goal for me. I, once that's built, I can say, well done. you know, it's frustrating. I'm not as frustrated anymore as I used to be, but in the beginning, I wanted it ASAP, right? People like, quit saying that you wanna school. Why? Why do I have to mute that point? Um, but I had to start somewhere, right? You had to.
Hmm.
I'm laying the foundation for that now. But that's the big picture. That's the big goal.
Well, and a lot of times when people throw that kind of stuff in there, they're trying to mute your dreams because your dreams scare them because they're
There it
so
is.
big. Those
Mm-hmm.
dreams are so big that they terrify them.
Mm-hmm.
So so the compound and laying it all out. Um, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what the future holds for you.
Me too.
So, um, any major takeaways before I move into the lightning round? I think the question I want to ask, because I want to provide service here. Um, how can the community support you? What can we do?
So we're always looking for sponsorships. We're always looking for donors. We're getting ready to start a campaign, donor campaign, and just volunteers. If you want to come volunteer, if you have expertise in computer science, engineering, and you want to come volunteer, or host your own workshop, like an 8-week workshop. That's really what our needs are right now. I'm looking, you know, when someone asked me what do we need, I didn't have an answer a few
Mhm.
months ago. I just did not know. But as we are building out those are the three gaps we need. Just if you want to volunteers, personal and business wise. If you want to host a workshop, you can. We're looking for facilitators for that, and also donors. If you would like to become a monthly donor, we're looking for that support as well. So, and that's all on our website. How to become a donor under our strategic or under our donate. We have strategic partners.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's really pretty much it. Those three areas: volunteering. If we have a workshop and need some people, or if there's you're expert in certain spaces and technology, you want to put on a workshop for us, that'll be great. And if you want to be a donor.
Mhm. So I'm gonna put the link for all that in the show notes so that
Okay.
we can get Tiffany up to $1 million in
Yes, you
donations.
better say that. Yes, by the end of the year, that would be so lovely.
So we're trying to get those donations flowing, and so we're gonna put the link in the show notes. From your for your business, the LLC.
hmm
Where can we find you, and how can we utilize your
Okay.
business?
All right. So you can find, well, we're working on a website, tiffanygamble.com. This week, hopefully it'll be up. But so I work with businesses and youth organizations that want to have a conversation about technology and why technology is important, why we need to be enlisting our youth in education, educational programs. I can come and put a workshop on this, our workshop about technology. I also I am moving into working with our elderly population.
Mhm.
As COVID has shown us, this pandemic, there's still people that are left out of the space with technology and even communicating with each other. So how do we bring that training or that education and knowledge to our underserved populations, elderly, and as well as people that have been incarcerated and just now getting out, and they're being let out with this with their we're in a tech age now, right?
Mhm.
So getting into those populations as well as businesses, talking to businesses about why it's important for their employers to go get a different certification or hone in on those skills, those tech skills. And then also I work with individuals that want to pivot. So you want to pivot into a business or nonprofit, I can help you with that paperwork, starting that paperwork, filing your EIN, your 501c3, getting your uh, uh, business online with the state. I can help with that. And then also, if you want to go into a tech career, so you looking around, you're at a really a pretty dead end job. Minimum wage is not livable wages, and you want to start looking at what tech career can you go into. I can help. I'm a career tech navigator. I can help you in that area too. Try to help you find resources, help you get back in school, help you find a certification, maybe get you a mentor, find those jobs that are hiring in that space. So I can help you in that area too. So it's really, and then I also do community workshops as well. So monthly community workshops to adults and for youth, just to once again expose what the opportunities are out here with technology. So I do a lot on the LLC side. We're just now launching this out. I'm also a speaker, so I have spoke at University of Lincoln. They had a tech conference 2019. I spoke to that. I've been on various tech panels at different conferences, things of that nature. So I also provide emerging lady circles tech workshops as well. I travel internationally. That's why I was in Ghana recently to put on a 5-day tech training workshop for Black women. So I also do that as well. So there's a lot that I do on the LLC side. Like I said, I'm just like sort of just relaunching the LLC, but it's really the overarching theme or mission is to create a safe space for our Black community to talk about and engage with technology and show them where that pathway can lead in different aspects. So yeah, that's what I bring as a tech connector.
So when do you sleep?
I do sleep. I'm big on my self-care. Okay. If I can't help, if I can't take care of myself, I can't help anyone else. So I do foresee that I'm gonna be busy this summer. We did finalize our first contract with providing a tech summer program to an organization here, Empowerment Network. We will be providing a tech summer camp, 7-week summer camp for them this summer. So that's on the LLC side. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Awesome. That's incredible. Actually, I have an idea. I'm gonna share it with you after this stream, after I get done with this. Thank you for coming on, Tiffany. If you don't mind, I'd like to jump right into the lightning round, and then we can wrap this up, and I can throw my ideas at you.
Okay.
The lightning round is basically where we just want to give listeners a quick glimpse of who you are and what you got going on. So some of the questions may be a little bit redundant, but that's kind of how the format runs. So we're going to start the lightning round. Who are you?
Who am I? I was getting ready to rap, bro. I am Tiffany Gamble. I am the owner of Emerging Ladies LLC. We are a tech education agency, and I am also the founder and chief innovation officer of Emerging Ladies Academy, where we empower Black girls in technology.
All right. What's your favorite book right now?
I am so glad you asked. So I have this book, Taking People With You, The Only Way to Make Big Things Happen by David Novak. It is such a great book as it pertains to being a leader and how you need to take people with you. You have to have a team. So how do you do that? So just different, the CEO of Yum Brand, which is KFC, Taco Bell, all those franchises. Um, uh, he is David Novak is that chairperson. So
Okay.
he wrote this book to teach us how to take people with us, and it's great. It's an awesome book.
All right. So, what was the last book you read? And then summarize it for us poorly.
Wow, do I have the book? Oh my goodness, what book was it? You would ask me. Hmm. I haven't. Hmm. The last book I read, I can't remember the name of it. It's probably over here on my bookshelf. I can talk about another book. So I got
Okay.
this book on how to work a room, the ultimate guide to making lasting connections in person and online. And it's basically how do you engage?
Okay.
How do you network? How do you go in a room full of strangers and sell yourself? Basically, that's what the book is about.
All right. Um, what's your current hustle and what is your side hustle?
Um, my current hustle is ELL, creating these tech workshops. And that's actually my side hustle as well.
Mhm.
So it's two of the same, current and side. Forming all these tech workshops to start selling them and getting some clients
All
for
right.
that piece.
So, what is your big marketing question?
How to engage donors.
How to engage donors? I might have some ideas. So, we'll talk about it off air.
Mhm.
But because for the audience listening, that's the knowledge y'all got to pay for. I'm
Right.
giving it
Can't give all your sauce away, okay?
right, but and maybe yeah, we may do a show later on for that's narrowly targeted towards people that are running or starting nonprofits, and maybe we come back on and reconvene about how to get those donors. But
Sure.
all right, let's see. One life-changing piece of advice that you could give the audience.
Believe in yourself. That we have what it takes within us. You may have to dig deep to find it sometimes, but don't give up on yourself. You're worth it. You're worth every push, every obstacle. You just need to believe in yourself that you can do this, whatever this is for you.
All right. And where can we follow you?
You can follow Emerging Ladies Academy at emergingladiesacademy.org. You can follow us on our Facebook, ELA Omaha, Instagram, ELA Omaha. And for me, tiffanygamble.com.
All right.
And then
And
Tiffany Gamble on Facebook.
all right. And all those links will be provided in the show notes so that you can get out here and absolutely follow everything Tiffany has going. And it's a lot, but it's going to be, you'll be better for it um, by following what she's doing. So, is there anything else before we sign off that you want to tell the world about yourself?
Um, no, I'm just very grateful to be afforded this opportunity to bring tech education to our community. If we do not prepare for our future, we will be left behind. And that is my biggest fear for us as we continue to maneuver into this whole of technology.
Hmm.
We have to prepare ourselves personally and professionally to where it's taking us. And I do not feel like that we are prepared for this journey. And it's here now. It's in our face. It's screaming at us, and we're ignoring it.
Right.
So I think now, I mean, in 2017, people really still wasn't interested, but the pandemic shown us how vital our lives are attached to technology, and how we have to Start moving into that lane, just like when the internet came out,
Right.
or cell phones came out. Right now they're everywhere. The internet is everywhere. It's not an isolated um, um, uh, piece of equipment that we use, that we just pick up. It's integrated in our lives now. So we have a responsibility to learn about it, to understand it, and to prepare our lives around it. Even, for example, completing a job application. Every job that you want is online.
Right.
If you don't know how to maneuver simple software applications like email, you're not even going to get a job.
Right.
Just even uploading your resume, people don't know how to do that. Simple. And for the ones that have had to integrate themselves or put themselves in those spaces, now we're taking it for granted, the knowledge and skill level that we have. But there's still populations out here that don't have that knowledge base, don't have that skill set, and they are being left behind. So that's my fear, and that is why I'm doing what I'm doing with adults and with our youth, and with our Black community. Once again, if we're not prepared, we're going to suffer greatly. Absolutely. And I just don't want to see that happen.
All right. So thank you for coming on. All the links are in the show notes. Tiffany, thanks for showing up. I really appreciate it. I think this is going to be a very valuable episode in hindsight, because there's a lot of good information about getting started. And I think that's where it's going to go. Again, thanks for tuning in. This is Brian Sells Words. If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. We want to hold your marketing dollars accountable. Thank you for coming on, Tiffany.
Thank you for having me, Brian.
All right. What I'll do is I'm in the broadcast, and then I got a couple of things I want to throw at you here. All right. Okay. So we're going to end the broadcast. Thanks for tuning in. Talk to y'all later. Peace.
Peace.